Okay, doing another truth video. Um, I think this is probably the best way to explain what enlightenment actually is to probably what is my audience or going to be my audience. Um, Jed McKenna's fourth book he wrote a decade after his trilogy. Is it basically how what I'm going to use to explain it, because I think it does it in the best way that can be understood in theory before you actually experience it directly. So I'm going to play this video, explain it, and then play one more video.
Jed McKenna's Theory of Everything. The enlightened perspective.
Stop.
There is only consciousness. Anything that tells you otherwise is a belief, and no belief is true. No universe, no energy or matter, no duality or causality. All gone. Everything is inside consciousness, and nothing is outside. There is no universe. There is only consciousness. Whatever exists is merely appearance within consciousness.
Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind?
C. Rex. Consciousness is king. Consciousness is the superset of the universe. There is no universe out there. There is no out there at all. There is only the universe in here. What I am saying here is not for you to trust or believe, but to look into on your own. There is no greater authority in the universe than you.
Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind?
Knowing that no one can know anything is the gateway to knowing everything. No amount of skepticism could ever be too extreme. No other knowledge than I am/consciousness is possible. I am is the alpha and omega of knowledge. Nothing else is known or knowable by any conscious entity, anywhere, ever. Apart from I am, the only thing we can say for sure is that we can't say anything else for sure.
Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind?
The theory is the easy part. Recompiling personal reality over a period of years or decades is where the real work comes in. I may understand that consensus reality isn't true, or even probable, but here I am. You are the journey, and you are the destination. Don't seek external validation. Be your own guru. How can it be that I, who I am, didn't exist before I came to be, and that someday I, who am I, will no longer be who I am?
Alright, so what he says is, so this is basically his model, and you can use any model to wake up and become enlightened. I can only speak with accuracy because I did it and I verified it, and there's it's jaw-droppingly accurate. So this dot I have on this piece of paper here, you would think you are that speck of consciousness, that dot on that white piece of paper, and everything around you is Earth, universe, stars, galaxies, all that stuff. So that is the consensus belief on reality, is you're a small speck of consciousness living on this great big Earth. All he does in his model is switch the label. So he's switching the label from you being the dot on that piece of paper that's infinite to being that infinite piece of paper experiencing the small speck of consciousness. So instead of a great big universe, there's only consciousness, and expanding infinitely in all directions. Nothing can reside outside of consciousness. So it's saying the universe does not exist, that it's a belief, and it's always been a belief, and it's consensus belief that the universe exists. It does not. If you want truth, then this is what you have to wake up to. This is the model of reality you have to instill to see clearly that the universe does not actually exist, that it is consciousness, and everything is consciousness, and all the separations are artificial. So the next video I want to show, it's longer, but it will explain it a little bit better. So consciousness is infinite, unchanging, absolute truth, whereas universe is belief. So we all choose to believe that our universe is true, and we ride on that fictional foundation, whereas truth actually does exist, and switching this label will inevitably make you enlightened, and you'll go through the inward journey to truth, and you'll have no more guessing or belief in the way of this absolute knowledge, that you know nothing, and you knowing nothing, like he says, is the gateway to knowing everything, because there is only truth and there is nothing else. So I'm going to play this next one here.
This model is our clear and obvious perception that the world around us is real. How can it not be? I see it, touch it, hear it, taste and smell it. It's always there, always solid and stable. I experience it directly every waking minute of my life. It's just silly to say it doesn't exist. And that means that the C-Rex model is silly as well. My response to that, as always, is revisit your assumptions. In this case, the assumption that we experience the world directly is false. No one has ever experienced this alleged world directly, and no one ever will. Weird, huh? Spend more time with your hands, I suggest to Carl. He stares at me blankly. Seriously, give your hands some serious thought. Make an effort to appreciate your hands. Move them, observe them, feel their actual connectedness to you. Carl is studying his hands like he's never really seen them before. Or maybe he's messing with me. I can't read people. Whenever I want to settle down and remind myself that I have this experience of a body in a space-time energy-matter amusement park, I study my hands. I do this many times a day. They remind me of where I am and how awesome it is, and that it can all change at any moment. As you appreciate your hands, I tell Carl, reflect on the fact that you do not and cannot experience your hands directly. He holds them up to show me, directly, and exhibits smug remorse at having defeated my foolish statement so easily. You don't experience your hands directly, I say. The only thing you perceive directly is consciousness, so you experience the perception of your hands directly. But you experience your hands themselves, and your brain and beer and past indirectly. What's the difference between directly and indirectly? The only thing you perceive directly is perception itself, consciousness. Like my hands? No, like your perception of your hands. But not my actual hands. Not so actual, actually. In philosophy, this is called the veil of perception, meaning that all we really perceive is ideas of things, never the things themselves. My hands, for instance, are not experienced directly by me, but through sensory receptors that transmit electrochemical signals through a nervous system to a brain where they are interpreted and create the perception of hands. But obviously, that whole sensory system, brain included, is just an idea. No matter how strongly I believe my hands and brain are real, they never rise above the level of non-probable possibility. This universe we experience can never be more than a belief. There's no proof, or even evidence, that physical reality is real. This is what it means to say that Maya's palace of delusion is constructed entirely of wisps of dream stuff. Brainwashed UREX cult members, you, I assume, believe in the existence of a physical universe out there, but no one has ever perceived it directly, and no one ever will. Hence, the strange loop of consensus reality. We all agree that the universe is really out there, those agreeing with us being themselves out there. Everything we experience through the senses is already second-hand at the moment of perception, because the brain doesn't perceive anything. It just sits in its light-proof box and translates incoming sense data into perceptions. Your alleged brain doesn't see, hear, taste, or touch anything. You have no direct contact with a universe out there, only an internal movie, a projection on the screen of the mind. No one can ever perceive anything out there directly. That clear and obvious truth seems like something that scientists should preface every statement with, not bury. But if they don't bury it, it buries them. Their credibility might suffer if they have to begin every statement with, "This is just baseless fiction masquerading as solid fact, of course, but..." We are programmed from birth to suspend disbelief and let ourselves pretend reality is real. But if we want to stop pretending and find out what's really real, we have to re-engage our critical disbelief systems and become rabidly, fanatically, pathologically skeptical. Philosophy calls it extreme skepticism. I call it distinguishing the known from the believed, which doesn't seem that extreme to me. You have to draw a line somewhere, and between belief and knowledge seems like a good place to do it. I can assert that I live in the 21st century, but that's just a belief based on rumor and hearsay, or it could be the lingering effects of last night's 34th century audience participation hypnosis event, which I was instructed to forget I attended, or the setting of an in-flight period piece sense movie being piped into my cryogenically suspended brain during extended space travel, or any of countless other scenarios. How can I be sure? The same way I can be sure of anything. I can't. It might seem at first that C-Rex isn't possible because our reality is just too real to be a dreamlike phenomenon. But when we start looking at what we really know, and how we know, and the nature of knowing, then the unreality of reality is revealed. We are only conscious of consciousness. That's a powerful reminder of what cannot be accepted as real. I am not aware of my hands. Rather, the three, I, awareness, and hands, are one. Perceiver, perception, perceived, consciousness. We develop our sense of object permanence by the age of 2, but we might still wonder if something really exists when we no longer observe it. We outgrow such questions, but not because we answered them. It's perfectly valid to ask, how do I know my bicycle really exists when I don't see it? The answer is, I don't. The better question is, how do I know my bicycle exists when I do see it? The answer is, I don't. The best question is, then how the hell do I know anything exists? The answer is, I don't. Is something true when I am conscious of it? No. Consciousness is true, but the content of consciousness is not. I can never perceive the external world directly, but I do perceive perception directly. My perception of a cheeseburger does not prove the existence of an actual cheeseburger, but the perception itself is perfectly real and valid to me. The cheeseburger is as real as it seems. Strength of perception varies, so the sight, smell, taste, and feel of any given cheeseburger in hand is more real than any given cheeseburger in imagination, but both cheeseburgers are just perceptions, one more real, but neither more true. Perception is perception, I say to Carl. It doesn't have to be qualified because it is what it is. My perception of a cheeseburger and my perception of the stars are equally valid. However, if I extrapolate from those perceptions to declare that I have a physical body in a time-space, energy-matter universe full of cheeseburgers and stars, then I have wandered off into baseless speculation by trying to weave a physical universe from wisps of dream stuff. Which everyone does, he says. Sure, which everyone does, if there really is an everyone, instead of just a lot of wispy dream stuff. Ah, yes, says the wispy dream stuff I call Carl. Of course. But, continues the wispy dream stuff I call me, if I don't try to extrapolate a physical universe based on my perceptions, then there is no conflict. My cheeseburger generates sensory awareness, which is a reality in the perceptual tripartite of my being, so when that perception exists, it is a part of me, of my me-ness and now-ness. So if the universe isn't real, asks Carl, examining his hands, then where does it come from? As real as it is to you is as real as it is, I say with a vague sense of self-plagiarization. Then I realize that I need to say that same thing using only 2-letter words. Is as it is to me, is as it is, I say triumphantly. Huh? Says Carl, using 3 letters. Never mind, I say. Paradigm hopping is a tricky business. There are a lot of ramifications of C-Rex that are very difficult to process theoretically. It's easy to say that consciousness is not within time and space, but to really understand it, you have to relax out of all your time-hardened, emotionally empowered beliefs that tell you otherwise. You don't need any new beliefs, but you will begin to see how entrenched and inflexible your old ones really are. There is no time or space. There is only consciousness. There is no before or after, no here or there. There is only is. So, to answer your question, the universe comes from consciousness, and consciousness is. And that answer satisfies you? Perfectly. I've called C-Rex home for more than 20 years, and I understand the things I'm saying directly, not based on weak intermediaries like words or concepts or beliefs. I see everything forever in all directions. I see no mystery or possibility of mystery anywhere, and I see that there's no place for mystery to hide. I hope I'm conveying something of the simplicity and obviousness of all this. Trying to express the inexpressible is a fool's errand, but I've never let that stop me. This is simple stuff, and to get it, you gotta get simple. Believing or disbelieving C-Rex is irrelevant. If C-Rex is not your state of reality, then it's just another concept toy you can play with and forget. But you've come this far, so why not take it for a spin? Treat it like a lens and reassess your world through it. See how everything resolves into clarity. Look around. Look at everything and everyone. Look at any mystery. Ask any question. Look at what you're most sure of, your hands, your brain, a cheeseburger, and ask how you know they're real. The answer is, you never do.
Alright. Yeah. I mean, he says it pretty darn good there.
Jolene wasn't familiar with the Plato's cave allegory, much less my...
So, every single thing out there that we're perceiving is consciousness. It doesn't actually exist. It's contents within consciousness for us to perceive. This is the thing people can't grasp. Because they have such a hardened sense of reality and hardened belief systems of reality, and instead of perceiving reality directly, they have this intermediate, indoctrinated misunderstanding of life and consciousness and how it all actually operates. So like my main goal was to figure out how this is actually operating. If it's not out there, then everything I thought I knew and believed I knew, all-knowing essentially, all-knowing, because we can never know anything for certain other than we are consciousness, gets thrown out the window. So consciousness actually comes in and destroys the human drama within. It's just the way it works. It's funny. I guess the only reason I seem uncomfortable sharing this is because I know the amount of agonizing hell a person has to go through to become enlightened and wake up. it is actually that simple. It doesn't get simpler. If you're not understanding it, it's because you have an egoic need to understand, to believe, to be certain of. If you want certainty, then you have to dig into your uncertainty and stop lying about what actually is. Your beliefs are so layered and so hardened from so many years of time, space, hardened beliefs. I mean, just looking at the big concepts like time and space and money will take care of all of it, and realizing that it's all complete fiction that everyone's playing along with. And as consciousness comes in and wakes more and more people up, the more and more that these time-hardened belief systems and happenings within consciousness are going to fade away. And I see it directly. I saw the dying of all of my bullshit directly. I perceived it directly. I just didn't get in the way. So it causes like this internal war, this internal struggle of dissonance, because you worked so hard on building this character and building this understanding of reality and how it actually operates, and now you're being tossed into this new understanding that everything you believed you ever knew is false, and truth actually does exist. So, you know, for me, it was awesome and awful at the same time, but judging consciousness and the contents within it, you slowly see over time is pointless. I mean, what's the point of judging life? What's the point of judgment, period? All it does is glue together belief. And he says, and it's true, after you wake up, the only thing you need to do is draw the line between truth and belief. And truth, consciousness, lies outside of this reality. Everything inside of this reality is belief, all of it. So I'm in a total world of make-believe, and I perceive the masses believing they're not in a world of make-believe, and that's kind of weird, seeing everyone make-believing it's not make-believe, drawing these artificial lines that they call truth. In other words, everyone appears to me to be trying to play God by making these beliefs true, and using fear to insert into people around them to make them believe in their beliefs. It's just a game of cat and mouse. It's a rat race. It's pathetic. It's boring. It's predictable. I just want people to wake the fuck up. I don't I don't know. I don't know how long this brainwashing can continue. I mean, I would have believed forever, but consciousness came in and took care of my bullshit, showed me how full of shit I was, and I was completely full of shit, and I'll always be completely full of shit. The only difference now is I'm aware. I can see it. I can see that it's complete, just dream. It's basically just dream material. Like, it's no different than a dream. I don't even comprehend how people can possibly believe we're not in a dream. I mean, just look around. It's ridiculous. It's complete dream. Focus on any one aspect or concept long enough, and you'll see it's dream. It's just pixelated, downloaded, not real, non-existent stuff, including my body, my brain, my mind, all of it. It's complete dream material. I just thought I'd share this. Let's see if there's any other vids. Like, I didn't really have a plan. I wanted to try to do a video a day until I got most of this shit out of my system. But yeah, I mean, any of the Jed McKenna stuff on YouTube is decent. It's just all out of his books, essentially, and people trying to take credit for it. We still have no clue who Jed McKenna even is, or where he is. I mean, but once you wake up, it really doesn't matter, because it's just more non-existent dream stuff. Like, here's a decent idea of what awakening is.
My mind like a smart bomb. That primary epiphany detonated in my mind like a smart bomb and left me all alone on a desert planet that had only that morning been teeming with people and problems and emotions and history and drama and a million other things that were
Define.
Alright, so what he's saying is when he took his first step, it was like a smart bomb, like a explosion happening in his brain of just built up belief, built up horse shit, and all of it just exploded at once. This exact same thing happened to me. Basically, as I watched quantum physics and the double slit experiment, and I engaged that belief system, and basically it's a state of surrender, and then you literally see through the illusion of reality, physical reality completely, because now all of your focus is inward, because there is no external anything to help you, and in desperation mode we turn that focus inward, and it's just irrational depression. But as soon as I saw that reality wasn't real or tangible or true, everything I believed became useless. Completely 100% useless. And I believed in me. So yes, I became completely useless. And you realize you are here all by yourself, and you are just perceiving contents of reality. This is truth talk, and this is not what humans want to pretend they're in, but this is the reality. This is real reality. Right after the bomb bursts and you see through reality, this is basically what it is. I mean, these pictures and stuff are good.
Things that were instantly reduced to fine ash by the spiritual apocalypse that incinerated my world in a brilliant flash of light. After the blast, I found myself stumbling, dazed and shell-shocked through a post-apocalyptic landscape undreamed of by science fiction writers. Civilizations were reduced to windless deserts. Cities I now saw as blackened craters, and people as shadows of smoke. What had been Earth, home, humanity, family, life, could now be most aptly called nothing forever.
World is crying, world is dying, the world goes blind while the boy is lying. The house is burning, the children mourning their father's death. But the world, it keeps turning. One more day of pain has passed while he lies in the grass on his back, looking through the cracks in the sky. Sun rounds, all drowns in twilight.
How did I get here? Here where? Here what? It can't be what it appears to be, though I know it is. It can't really be nothing forever, though I know it can't not be. There must be something somewhere, though I know there's not. I have to see. I have to look for myself. Where are the people? The cities? Where are the churches? Where are the statues and icons? Where are the great philosophies and belief systems? Surely they must have survived. Who am I to be here alone? Where are all the smart ones? The ones who seemed so serious, so stable, and deeply rooted and tightly wrapped, so real. Where are the ones with the strong beliefs and complex philosophies? Why aren't they here? Where are the heroes? This is a place where there should be heroic men and women. The best of the best should be here. The smartest, the bravest, the most devout, the truest. Where are they? Where are the signs that they've been here? It can't just be me. There must be others. I couldn't believe I was all alone on this desolate planet. So I went off to have a look around.
The world is cracked, earth is black, a child with no arms lying on his back. Nowhere to go in the middle of this hole, in the middle of the earth spinning out of control. Desert stretches on for one more day. The girl pleads to him, don't go away. His lips, they move, but got nothing to say. He stares blankly through her face. Recollection plays.
To make sense of this new world. A non-world in which a non-I nevertheless seemed to reside. The waking dream state. It was like the world had turned from hard solidity into shimmering mirage. I could still see the world I had always known, but I could not find its substance. Whatever I reached out to touch, my hand passed through. Whatever I thought about dissolved in my mind. Whoever I looked at, I saw through like vapor, myself included. I looked at my own character, and it was like a face you see in a cloud for a second, before it's gone.
I'm running through the desert, running into the sun. I'm running out of blood, yeah, I'm going numb. I'm running, yeah, I'm running, I'm running, I'm running, I'm running on empty. I'm running through this maze till I reach the sea. My heart burns, pain, a reflection of
Untruth, unrealized state. And it's the same for me as for anyone who comes to it. There are no masters or novices here. There are no teachings or beliefs, no Hindus or Buddhists or Advaitins, no masters or yogis or swamis, no discorporate entities or higher-level energies or superior beings. Awake is awake. This is Enlightenment theory, the pure binary mathematics of truth. And it's very simple. As easy as 1, 2, 3, but without the 2 and the 3.
rain down at midnight. I ride my bike.
That you'd have to close your eyes and bury your head not to see it. Specifically, you would need some mechanism by which to generate an energy field around yourself, an artificial micro-environment, A one-man spacecraft with an interactive in-flight movie so engrossing that you could forget that you were floating alone in empty space and believe that you were in a world full of people and drama and meaning, which is exactly the case. The mechanism by which you accomplish this most remarkable of all feats is a well-oiled combination of emotion and intelligence. Emotion powers the energy field. Maya is the ruling intelligence. The in-flight movie is called delusion. And this ship in which you aimlessly float through nothing forever is called ego. And when the soap bubble pops, when ego is destroyed, when Maya is vanquished, what then? Everything. Who then? No one.
Dead souls know I'm alive. They want me to lie down by
Alright, so that is a really good description. So he's describing basically the mechanism of delusion and the way it operates within us and how it fooled us for all of these years. So what sounds to you like a total conspiracy right now, I would assume, because you're a UREX brainwashed cult member, and I'm only speaking through his words, my description would be pretty damn close. You have a belief in the universe, so you're a member of the cult. An awareness that consciousness is all that is, and there is no universe existing, would be awake, and the middle stage would be enlightenment. So what he describes of that soap bubble surrounding us is an energetic thought shield to reality. It's a movie so engrossing that you actually forget you're in a movie, and you create an entire character and persona, and you're actually in the movie and believe you're in the movie, not just of the movie. And that's what's happened with the characters in this reality. And I gotta be honest, it looks pretty stupid and pathetic, so I think Waking Up is probably gonna be way, way cooler than this shitty soap opera continuing. Like, it is just a human soap opera, and it's just going way too far. We want to obsess over our emotions and our feelings. We want every little detail of this dream to be real and true. It's ridiculous, and it's gone too far. And the soap bubble, the soap opera bubble, this energetic field of emotion plus the illusion of intelligence is how the bubble gets created around us, and it dilutes. It's hard to see through the soap bubble. So trying to see through this soap opera bubble to perceive reality directly, it gets thicker and thicker and thicker until it pops completely. And this is what awakening is. This is the initial pop of that bubble. It doesn't mean you're enlightened and awake. It means you took the first step, and after you take the first step, it's essentially the last step. So everyone's seeing through this glazed over bubble of belief, and they can't quite see reality directly, because they created this energetic thought shield. So they can't improv or go play different characters or basically do anything, because they've walled off knowing. They've actually believed that they know something that they don't know. And that's why he says the gateway to knowing everything is knowing that you know nothing. And then having that as your foundation instead of some soap opera lie. So I'll continue it here.
These are the demons that pass through my life that killed me over 1,000 times. I don't run, I don't flee, I don't fight. I don't act dumb and don't shine my light. I don't act numb, I don't flex my might. I sit down on the ground till the time is right. They seek my demise, I rely on my dark side to give in to the night. All those desperate ghosts, stuck souls, trapped in black holes, became werewolves, stole their souls. They wanna see me bleed.
It should now be clear that there are no cases of instant enlightenment, that awakening is not the result of a single epiphany, but of a long, arduous journey, wherein every step is a long, arduous journey. It should now be obvious that all dogma, beliefs, doctrines, and philosophies are strictly dream state phenomenon, with no independent existence in truth. It should now be easy to look at any teacher or teaching, at any book, at any spiritual or religious assertion, and to instantly know its exact and certain value. It should now be easy to look at every internal thought, belief, and emotion, and know without the possibility of error what is real and what is imagined. It should now be clear that there is no room for debate or opinion with regard to what is true and what is false. The distinction is absolute. Truth exists. Untruth does not.
Alright, so it truly is that simple. It's the simplest thing there is. So hopping on this journey should not be complicated. You don't have to play stupid and ask stupid questions. I really don't know what to tell people. Wake up or don't. I mean, you can head toward unconditional surrender to infinite consciousness, which we can pretend is synonymous with infinite intelligence, or you can keep trusting these non-existent external dream characters to think for you, and you continue to follow them instead of following your own inward focus to truth. The hardest part of this entire awakening thing is the loneliness of it all, and this infinite void that I am. It takes years. It takes absolute years to make this transition. You go from this paradigm of fear to this paradigm of infinite, to where I could be thrown into any reality and experience it. That's like preparation for death. Death itself is a concept, and we are all immortal in consciousness. That's what we can prove to ourselves. We can see that directly. And then this death thing no longer has any hold over you, because it's just a smirk. You know, the picture show just changes. You're still going to be consciousness. It's the only thing that exists. So my dream character, me, all of it, is non-existent untruth, and I got to deal with that, and I got to process that, and I got to stop resisting that. And that's the type of resistance I'm talking about. Like, it will not stop, and it will get harder and harder to resist, and eventually you're just going to let it overtake you. People act like waving the white flags at the end of the world, but those are just scared people that, you know, find other scared people to agree with them and make you feel shitty by design in order for you to wake up before they wake up. It just is that simple. Stake life upon truth, or don't. Stay in the lie or don't. I mean, I'm in the lie, but I'm aware truth exists, and I'm aware everything in this reality is 100% untruth. So I'm just curious how I operate as a machine in this machine world, as a simulated being in this simulated world. I mean, there's hundreds of ways to say things. Everybody's obsessed with definitions and defining. Just because we have the words for things like heresy and esoteric or philosophical, like, we use these words as defense. That's what words are. They defend it as if the word is true. The word is made up. The word is description, it's a depiction of what we see. Yeah, it's heresy, but it's also honesty. I mean, you know, which one word sounds awesome, the other word sounds awful, but they really coincide perfectly synonymously. So it's only the judgment that heresy is bad. It's only the judgment that dishonesty is bad. Neither is good or bad, it just is. Perception is, consciousness is whatever it is at that exact moment in time. And that's the way it operates. But I really have to say that Infinite Intelligence did great. I mean, it appears that it really gives a shit about my character and me and my desires, and allowing it to do its job seems perfect. Oh boy. So yeah, I'm gonna do one more, and it's gonna seem dramatic, because it's called Nuke Your Life. There's like a 6-part series on YouTube to Waking Up. The first part's like Stake Your Life on Truth, and the last part is like Nuke Your Life. Like, enough of being children. Like, you can be an adult in this world and wake up. There's no other way to being an adult. Like, you can be a cave dweller and hang out in Plato's cave, or you can exit the cave completely and open your eyes for the first time and not see through this glazed soap opera bubble that has been created. You know, I'm not just calling out the political system or calling out one aspect of the dream. I'm calling out the entire dream. You know, why stop at one little piece? We zoom into one little piece because that's all we can do. But you can zoom into one little piece and another little piece, and you can just see that all of it is the exact same. It's just contents of consciousness for us to perceive. And as soon as we invoke our beliefs on it, we're walling off that direct perception from consciousness. If you want to perceive reality directly, then you have to remove beliefs, and you are a belief. You are a non-existent character in the dream. So I'm going to play one last one here.
So what's the truth of me? Who am I? That is the question. If you want to know, find out. Think as hard as you possibly can. Dare to be a fool. Unchain yourself from respectability. Take an oath. Declare war. Burn it all. Burn everything. This is the answer to the question you're asking. That's what all this awakening stuff is about. That's what real Zen is about. Nuke your life. What gets destroyed was never yours in the first place.
Well, I heard there was a secret chord that David played and it pleased the Lord. But you don't really care for music, do you? Well, it goes like this: the fourth, the fifth, the minor fall and the major lift, the baffled king composing hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
You have to start by bringing yourself into focus. Nothing can happen before that, and no one else can do it for you. The fact is that no matter how you cut it, no matter what you believe, all you have is this tiny moment of being sandwiched between two eternities of non-being.
Your faith was strong, but you needed proof. You saw her bathing on the roof, her beauty and the moonlight overthrew you. And she tied you to her kitchen chair, and she broke your throne, and she cut your hair, and from your lips she drew the hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
All you have is this moment of dream state being, which can slam shut at any moment. The question is, what are you going to do with it? Once you come to deeply appreciate that question, your life goes into a kind of cascade meltdown. Everything in your life gets dropped, except your life itself. That's when you begin to see what it means to be asleep, and that virtually everyone is. That's when you begin to see what it means to say that people are all children, and insane children at that. That's when you begin to see that all emotions are energetic attachments, and that they all stem from fear.
Well, baby, I've been here before. I've seen this room and I've walked this floor. You know, I used to live alone before I knew you. And I've seen your flag on the marble arch, and love is not a victory march. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
No one's saying this stuff is easy. Actual progress is never easy. Like a slow dying, but faster slow, that's what it is, a dying. And what does all that amount to? What do you get for all that suffering and disillusionment? Salvation? Liberation? Nirvana? No. It just gets you back to square one. It gets you back to the point where you went vertical instead of horizontal.
Well, there was a time when you let me know what's really going on below, but now you never show that to me, do you? But remember when I moved in you, and the holy dove was moving too, and every breath we drew is hallelujah, hallelujah.
Where you burrowed in at the age of 10 or 12. It gets you out of the hole you've spent your life digging yourself into so you can finally start your life. You're not even talking about taking a spiritual journey at this point. We're talking about undoing the unspiritual journey. We spend our lives burrowing down into our own graves, like that's a clever place to hide from death. This is about climbing out of our graves and living our lives and discovering who and where we are and what we are a part of. And you can't do that from the bottom of the hole.
Well, maybe there's a God above, but all I've ever learned from love was how to shoot somebody who outdrew you. And it's not a cry that you hear at night. It's not somebody who's seen the light. It's a cold and it's a broken hallelujah.
There is no mystery. Nothing is hidden, only unseen. But understanding consensual reality as a dream state is unbreakable. Life is but a dream. Reality has no basis in reality. With eyes closed, you find it dissatisfying. With eyes open, I find it delightful, magical, absurd, interactive, challenging, mysterious, playful, and brief. You want answers, but there are no answers, just beliefs. And if you want to awaken, beliefs are not your friends. They only hold you back. Demanding answers and explanations is an egoic stall tactic.
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Know how many ticks you have left. Listen for it. The game is on, whether you're playing or not.
Alright. So it seems like I'm being overly dramatic in playing stuff like this, but understand it's awakening. Truth realization has to be dramatic. Like, it has to be the king drama possible, because you're using drama to wall yourself off. You're using judgment to wall yourself off. Like, that's just the way it operates. So go toward the most horrific thing you can possibly think of, non-existence of you and yourself and all of it, and understand that that fear is the fear that will be the virus that wakes you up. It's just the way the game operates, and denying it's just a game, it's just something to do, it's just something, you know, I mean, pretending we have meaning when we don't, pretending our beliefs are true when they're not. I mean, if that's the game you want to play, by all means, play it. But you might want to ask yourself why you're watching somebody like me and are listening to somebody like me. And all you can use to wall off somebody like me is your own judgment. And if you look at that clearly, you'll see judgment is the glue holding all of it in place, holding that soap opera bubble of energetic, defensive intelligence in place, for people like me to come in and try to poke at that bubble and pop it for you, or help you pop it. You have to do it yourself, by relinquishing the illusion of control a little at a time. It's just the way it works. Truth is in the opposite direction of this success rat race game everyone's involved in. And every fear will pop in as you're breaking free of your own confines and you're terrified that awful things are going to happen. Take the ride or don't take the ride, it is what it is. I just want to share it because I am alone here in the stream, and I'm not interested in people that don't want to wake up. I'm into this because it's the most magical, coolest part, and it's honesty, and I like honesty. And I like patience, and I like trust, and I like consciousness. And I'm excited to see what's next. It's cool that I can speak truth without my voice shaking or being scared to do it. That's kind of cool. I never thought I'd be able to do that, especially if you asked me like 2 years ago. I was paralyzed by fear. I couldn't even speak. And now it's like, oh, okay, I'll put on this ego suit, this character suit, and get back in the fucking game. and it's cool. That's all I'm doing. But yeah, poker got very, very weird. Golf got very weird. Everything I was connected to and all my beliefs surrounding those games got very, very weird. The family dynamics got very, very weird. Everything got very weird because everybody believes different shit, and that's inevitably over time going to segregate you anyway, by design. And that segregation will lead you into thinking for yourself for the very first time in your entire life. And it's not easy to think for yourself. It's confusing. It's so much easier to just let other people do the thinking for you. Let's see. There was something I wanted to do. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do like a video. Also, basically, I didn't lose my memory or memory management. I have a hunch over time it will fade as it loses its appeal, and I don't really want to look at it anymore. But I have an entire history of being a person on planet Earth believing it, and I am going to bring it up in imagination, put it into words in a video, so you can get an idea of the character I was and the character I destroyed. I don't want to do this unveiling of truth thing like the other characters, because I realize I'm here alone and I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to do it however the fuck I want, or however the fuck it happens. And I'll do it on a little bit more personal level, because I think I'm just engineered to do it that way. I did not wake up to the truth without a fight. Like, I fought to keep all of my beliefs around, all of my beliefs intact, all of my history, all of my loyalty, all of my morality. I fought, and I lost. And I couldn't be more grateful that I lost, because now I'm free of those confines, those lies. But by fighting for them, it heightened my awareness of what my character is, and hardened it and made it easier to access. So yeah, it's my dream, and I'm going to do whatever I want with it. And I'm a dude full of heart and unconditional love and unconditional surrender, unconditional trust for consciousness. That's basically what I am now. I don't know why I have the S&P chart up here, but since I do, I mean, I'll expose the patheticness of this dream. I mean, if you look back here, this is 1984. It was at 160 points. Now it's at 3,000. 84, 94, 04, 14, 30 years. And it's gone up on average 8% per year, it looks like. And it's at its very top. Short term, this looks like a bear flag. And if you look at the RSI, weaker, weaker, weaker. If you draw a line, if I know how to do this. If you draw a line, the RSI is going down like this. Like that. Whereas price has been going up. This is a very reliable indicator. Price has been going up. Relative strength index has been going down. That's called a bearish divergence on a very long-term time indicator, the monthly chart. So price looks like it's ready to go to all-time highs. I'm not saying it can't, but to ignore this massive divergence, I'm not quite buying it yet. And I also trust consciousness and what ideas and what visions and what I see. I trust what I see now, because there's no me in the way of it, fucking with it. And I kind of see things playing out as basically just a shakeout, and then the real breakout will happen. And I'll go into charting later. It's just something I do in the dream because I'm bored. And I like money because it's ingrained within everyone's consciousness. And it's a fun thing to talk about, and it's really fun to point out the complete fictitious nature of money. It's just so stupid. It's so fake. Everybody fell for it. Everybody is going to have to wake up. I don't think there's any question to that. I don't see how we can avoid this. I mean, it's my dream. It's my reality being projected out there. It's going to go in a direction that my mind already went, you know? It's just how it has to be. And consciousness it's playing the game. So we think we can hide from truth forever. I don't know how anyone can possibly even believe they can do something like that. You can find distractions to hide in, but your entire character was designed by what's true, and your entire character can be destroyed by what's true. That seems like common sense. So a little bit of common sense, and you can just wake up and be done with this soap opera that you've been living in. Just because everyone around you is so engaged in the soap opera doesn't mean you have to be. You're allowed to wake up on your own and then come back to these other soap opera humans. Yeah. Bitcoin's in an interesting spot as well right now. I don't think much is actually going to even be happening in the next months, to be honest. I think it's going to go sideways, consolidate. Everything is, and by consolidate I mean it could even come down to $6,000 levels or lower. I doubt it's going to just be able to consolidate it at the top for months on end and then go up, and I doubt that it's ready to go up now. I think the next week should tell the tale on what's going to happen, whether it's going to go up now or last longer. And today is July 3rd, 2019. Alright, that's another truth video and whatever. Yep, that's it. Bye.